now that we have another volume of Eden Zero revealed, we can do another volume comparison cover for Mashima's 3 series. And I look forward to these. I mean, it's unfortunately got to wait a bit for the like high quality scan for the new Eden Zero cover, but it's still good enough that we can look at it and compare it to these ones. You know, it really, if you want to use the idea of the like full HD when it comes out, just imagine this cover, but a little bit more crisp, easy to do, and still gives us like a good spot to compare these ones. So let's look at it right now, just outright. Like Rave Master, I mentioned before, Rave Master has a lot of odd covers just because he was early Hero Mashima. You know, he was really young when he started Rave Master. He was only like 19, and at this point in time with the series, it was like he was only like what, like 20, 21 or so. So like he didn't have a lot of experience with them. This is like a solid cover, but this is like the same kind of. This is what I would have seen more towards Volume 13, because Volume 13 for Eden Zero and Fairy Tail was more of like a nice comfy group picture. This one, I like the colors. I enjoy ones like these just because you can see the color schemes for all the various characters of the main cast. It's one of those solid safe sets that is always just really nice. And I like the orange in the background. I think that's one of the better things about it. Like the main cast in there is just kind of fairly solid. I like Ruby in there too, but it's a fair cover. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing great. Like, and at the same time, like I know Eden Zero does some solid covers. I know Fairy Tail as well. Rave Master does too, but definitely not to the same consistent amount as what the other series have. But I do like the orange setting in the background. I think that is just a very nice touch to just to kind of complement all the other color schemes on this page. But the Fairy Tail one, I'd say overall, the color style of the Fairy Tail one is probably my favorite, just because I really like how Mira Jane's dress like takes up a good portion of the cover, and it's like this really nice, soft. I don't really know what exactly I kind of like to describe it. It's similar to like how when you have like a like nice like etched wood color, like the tables and the chairs behind them. It has a very like a very almost kind of like robust color scheme to it, and I like that style for Mira Jane's dress. The only thing I'd say though is kind of like the drawback to that is you can't really see the Fairy Tail symbol on her chest. But at the same time, I think it looks really good. I think it works well with her hair color too. Well, when you look at it, I would say though I'm not a huge fan of the color style for the title. You know, Fairy Tail. It's in that like weird purple. Was that mauve? I don't really know that shade of purple or whatever, but that one's pretty solid. Eden Zero's though, I like seeing Justice's color scheme. I think his looks really cool. I really wish that he had his ether gear on for this cover. Just it's one of those ones where I'm fine with either, but just because the background cover is white, I think it would have been a little bit more crisp to see his hair in that blue style with the white, black and white background. I really like the black Eden Zero outlining and title with the white cover. I think that looks really good, and it makes the whole setup makes Elsie's like hair really good. That nice crimson color looks really crisp on this whole setup. Shiki's is a really nice addition too. Like I was looking at some of the comments already today, and some people would have preferred it was just Elsie and Justice, but I liked that Shiki is in mid-motion on this cover. You know, he's doing his whole fighting setup. Obviously, you know, he's floating in the air. He's upside down. And it gives you a little bit of nod at the battles in here. But obviously, it focuses while taking the on Elsie and Justice and gives them a majority of the cover. The green background Foresta, not a huge fan of that, like, tied to the other colors. Because if you exclude that, like I said, the color setup for Justice and Elsie's color schemes with the black and white like frame for this looks great, but not a huge fan of the green. This is a little bit rough one because I enjoy these covers, but this is similar to like was it the last volume covers comparison video? I enjoyed those, but I wasn't crazy about any of them if I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and listen, but I like them I'm not like I'm looking at them like these are ones that I can't look at and be like, okay, for sure this one's my favorite. For sure this one or this one. For sure this one isn't in here, and it's a tie between these two. It's kind of like they're all really solid. If you had a different color scheme in the background for Eden Zero instead of the green, or maybe you had the blue hair for Justice, I actually think it would be cooler for Justice if he had his hair halfway shifted into the blue, and then he had his ether gear like lines going like outside his eye. I think that would actually make the cover way better, just because I really like how Mashima has him and his ether gear have that similar design that he has, with Sieg and Jalal and stuff. That nod at this weird character that's somehow continuous through his whole multiverse, but it's only when he's using his power. And the shift from white to blue would probably look really cool on this setup. Have that, maybe he's like, instead of looking off the distance, he's like peering over at Elsie on the cover. If it was something like that, I would definitely give it to for Eden Zero. It's definitely between Eden Zero and Fairy Tail, because, like I said, the Rave Master one is good, but it's a solid cover, but it's nothing great. Like Volume 12 is still probably the hardest one for me to kind of look at. Like, what's funny is whenever one's about to come out, I don't really look ahead. I don't okay, I want to refresh them. Like, most of the time when I do these, I don't look back at the covers or think about them until I decide to do them. Like, if I run into the cover, like, seeing it's because I'm rereading something, or whatever reason that it's selective in the moment. It's not like I'm trying to set things up for it. Like, when I was actually doing this, I went to go get the Volume 14 for Fairy Tail cover, and I was like, oh, I actually already have it saved, because I had it in a folder for backgrounds for my desktop. So again, it's something that I mostly just try and keep in the back of my head at some point, and then the refresher isn't until I'm setting it up. So I'm probably going to pick the Fairy Tail one just because I like the overall color scheme the most. The only part of it that I'm not a huge fan of, like I said, like, you can't see the Fairy Tail symbol on Mira Jane's chest too well, and then the Fairy Tail title in the purple. It doesn't look bad, but it's not as it doesn't look as well complemented as the other two. Because the Rave Master blue title on the orange background looks really nice, and the Eden Zero black title on the white background looks really good. I'd say that when it comes to just the titles, Fairy Tails is the the least, like, it pops out the least, and it's the least complemented by the background. But I think the image on the cover is the best one, because it has the most going on. Like, you have Natsu in the background, he's asleep. You have the really nice kind of bar setup with like that old rustic wood color. Mira Jane just doing her thing. I enjoy it. I think this is probably one of the more solid ones. Actually, I just noticed that each of them has a white-haired person on the cover. Especially if you count Haru, even though Haru's is supposed to be... Haru's is silver, but if you want to count that white too, but otherwise, Let, Mira, and Justice. I didn't even notice that till just now, but I like it. But anyway, actually, could have been blue too, if we had the blue Justice, because then you have Happy, Griff, and Justice. But anyway, I'll probably get to Fairy Tail. This is like a... barely, like, in the lead in this one, because, like, these ones are... They're all... I like all of them, but I'm not crazy about all of them. They're all pretty good, though. Either way, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this one. This one was, like, more of trying to think about it in the moment. I can see this going either way for anybody's opinions on these ones, just because they're all fairly solid picks, but nothing that's, like a big attention grabber. The next one... I'm trying to remember, like, because I know the next one for Fairy Tail is stuff with Laxus, and then, the Laxus cover, it's got, like, him in the background, Natsu, Gajul, and stuff. And then, for Eden Zero, I would assume it's gonna have, like, Xenolith on it, or maybe, like, Shura. Rave Master, I think it starts moving in with the mermaids. I can't remember off the top of my head, but again, that's one of the things I like to do with these. I don't like to look at them too much, because I want the memories and then the ideas of them to come back as I'm doing them, just because I think it makes it more fair, just to kind of like do it in the moment, because it's not about the chapters in the volumes, it's about the covers themselves. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend the like button, subscribe button, and to check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody who's already subscribed, and I thank y'all for listening. Bye.